Hal, it's Dennis. I'm going to review your lesson from today. Let's do the first things first, okay? So everything since I've first been working with you that I do to bring your swing plane down to a lower plane. And today we added, for example, the roll, right? So if your forearms are rolling and your club is arcing to the inside and you're turning instead of picking it up, that's all designed for the same purpose. That's not you. Hold on. That's all designed for the same purpose, is to get you out of the transition habit, which right there, it's really steep. So if I try to draw a line down this club here on that angle, that's about where we are, okay? So ideally, I would have you pointed at the golf ball or outside the ball. So as you come down, and I've showed you this video probably many times, but there's never such a thing as too many times in the case of playing. And when you come down, we've got to get the golf club on, that's extreme perhaps, but this might be, the other extreme. Now, we have made strides in that line, but I keep coming back to it. Every lesson, if you go back over your videos in the past, every lesson has something to do with this. And everything that I add be another thought of trying to get you. You're at 70, he's at 45. Same point in the way down. Same point in the downswing. So that's why I keep mentioning you got to think, like I know you're a tennis player, you got to think of forehand. Or if you're playing softball, you got to think you're a bat. Or you're going to skip a stone across a pond is another image that we use. To get you with more circle to your swing off of, the Ferris wheel aspect of it and down to more or less the merry-go-round aspect of it. Okay? So that's the reason for that roll going back. Now, as you come down, and again, it has gotten better. The lift, let's go back to the lift in the left foot. As I said before, that becomes an individual thing. A preference. It's not a principle. The only principles that direct a golf ball are the club face, the direction you're swinging at it, and the angle that it comes down into the ball. So you don't have, if it's causing you to lose your posture, that's another thing I did too. I wanted to get a little more bend at the waist, and then if you look at, when we were working a little bit later, we brought your posture down a little bit, okay? So there's two things I want you to think about before you swing. One is the posture with a little more tilt to the upper body and a little more seat out, less flex at the knees, a little bit more butt out. Let's see who we got here. A little bit like this. Better balance. As you said when we were doing it, you could feel yourself more over the balls of your feet. So ideally your knees would be over your shoelaces, your hands would be hanging over your toes, and that would be considered a good balance position. And the left thumb, I want you to take the club in your house and remind yourself that the left thumb has to be nice and long. That keeps your hands from being too, flippy. Try to keep your posture as you roll. It's another thing of rolling those forearms and letting the club open a little bit. It not only gives you a little more loft on the face, it also gets it to go around. Whereas you don't want to pick it straight up. And point it at the ball there. And then as he starts down, this is not a great camera angle, but you'll see the same thing. There it is, pointed at or outside the golf ball. So for you, we're on a much better swing path than we were, and we need to get on a much better swing plane. So, I've got posture and left thumb. I want you to start your club with your left arm across your chest like you did better at today, rolling your forearms. So you're going to supinate your right hand, pronate your left, right? Turn the right palm up, we call it fanning the club, okay? A little bit open. That enables you to get it a little more around you and not so above you. That last part right there is what I'm trying to get away from. It gets steep in the second part of the backswing. That's going straight up as opposed to around. So you know what I'm saying about this, and then you could also do something, you know, to give you anything that will give you an image of that club. And I'll go down here again. There he is at the top. Something like this. And not so much like that. Whatever it takes, you know. I can give you some thoughts and I can give you some images, but I can't find out. I don't know for my individual students which one's working for you. But that's our goal, is to get that club face a little bit more open at the top by rolling it. And last but not least is to get you staying down and turning through. So we want to get at this point, which is impact with the golf ball right there, we want to get your right heel already up in the air a little bit, and we want to get that belt buckle already turning toward the target at the impact. And so if you think about a similarity between golf and, say, tennis, the game you play, well, it would be this. The obvious one, and baseball is the same relationship. You're playing a side-on game. Like, here's one railroad track, and the player's on the other railroad track. So you're standing to the side of the ball, yes? You can't have a perfectly Ferris wheel shaped swing. The only way that would be functional in golf is if the ball was right here and you stood with the ball between your feet. Then your swing would be perfectly vertical, 90 degrees. Of course, you'd have to jump out of the road so you didn't hit yourself with the club. But we don't play golf there. We play golf over on another railroad track. And that's why the club has an arc to it. Arc, A-R-C. And that's what I was drawing in the dirt for you. It comes, when the body rotates this way, it comes in this way a little bit. And then, it's not a straight line. I'm trying to draw a curved line here. Okay? And then when you hit it, it keeps going in the other way for an arc. That's the actual shape of what a club head is doing when you're swinging it correctly. Why? Because your body's rotating. This arc on this side comes from turning your shoulders, and the arc on the other side comes from turning your hips. So take a look at that. And that's the two turns that we're always talking about, without the lift. Okay, so this would be Billy Horschel, that plays the PGA Tour, you know, fairly successfully. But believe me, if anybody is on television, they're great. No matter if they win a lot or whatever. If they're on TV and there's a lot of people paying to see them play golf, they're great. See that finish right there? Watch the club. Take your mind off the body for a minute. Watch. He hits the ball and watch. It immediately goes left. So the club's coming out of his rib cage here. Why? Because he's completely turned with his body to face the target. That's how you give it the arc. You give it to repeat. You give it the arc coming back this way with a turn of your shoulders, and you give it the arc coming this way with a turn of your hips. It's two turns and a swing of your arms with the club on the right angle. The correct angle. That's what it is. golf in its most simplified, overly simplified perhaps direction. But here you are rolling the club. Now look at the angle that you're on by practicing this feeling of rolling it. That's good right there. And not just roll your arms, but let your shoulders turn as you do it, right? So there you go. There's your golf club because you're rolling it. It's still not completely rolled, I mean, enough, but it's better. And when you come down that way, look where you're coming down. You're lower than what you were. You're pointed at or outside the golf ball. And I told you this a few years ago when you first started working with me. If I can take the verticality out of your swing and get you feeling more comfortable on a better plane, you'll have so much more control of the face of the golf club. Good turn. Your miss will almost always be the toe of the club when you're off, because of the vertical nature of your swing. Once it gets a little more rounded, you'll have the face available to you like nobody's business. Okay, I hope that helps you, Hal, and I hope that you, I had to stay a little longer for some tests at the doctor, so I didn't get right home after work, but should be 7 o'clock, so you should have plenty of time to review it. Take care now.